YouTube is not a viable business, especially for us small content creators. Effectively, we're just hobbyists. And that's okay, but it's better to know that now than pretend otherwise. For far too long, I've been on this hope and dream train, but in reality, I've just been another long line of wannabes. And that's okay. Like I said, I'm not here, it's not woe is me, it's not here to bash anything or anybody or any corporation. We just want to be logical and be grounded in our pursuit of content creation and what it really means and what we're really trying to accomplish. And really, let's brainstorm. Let's figure out how we can accomplish our goals and the end game. But the truth is, YouTube is not the end game. And I don't think it even is the game itself. Most people, including myself, didn't come to YouTube with some sort of business plan. We came to YouTube with a passion to share, a hobby to partake in, and to build a community surrounded those passions and those hobbies. For me, it was dogs, learning about different dog breeds from around the world, learning the finer points of preservation dog breeding, and being able to talk to people that would be considered experts in that field. And I've gotten a ton of enjoyment from being able to interview people from around the world. But I didn't come at it with turning that into a business. It was later in my journey, even after my monetization, I really started to see other people making YouTube into something that sustained their life in one shape or another. Theoretically, it was a business, right? They created a business out of their content creation. That enthralled me. I've always wanted to own my own business. I've always wanted to be considered self-reliant financially. I just haven't had the opportunity, the skill set, or the knowledge to be able to do such a thing. So then I went down a rabbit hole. I tried to learn. I tried to grasp as much information as I could. I tried to put some of that information to practice. But to this point, nothing has seemed like a clear path to any kind of sustainable victory in that pursuit. So yes, I haven't hit YouTube as hard as some people have. I haven't posted on a weekly basis. I haven't posted on a schedule. I post when I can post. A lot of that was because where I did see people keeping to a strict schedule, maintaining a pretty ferocious upload schedule, their growth was faster than mine, granted, but it was incremental growth. It really wasn't something that I felt like at the end of the day could be substantial enough to really turn it into a business. It might be, you might be able to turn it into a hobby that pays for itself. You might be able to garnish more of an income than I could by keeping to a strict schedule and by uploading on a regular basis, because YouTube, the algorithm, is the more you feed it, the better opportunity that you have to get some sort of level of success. But it never really equaled to the success that I was looking to have. And it wasn't a vanity metrics kind of success. It was a success that I could build a business on. And what that business was, I don't know. I thought about many different things. I thought about creating my own alternative style dog registry that registered composite breeds, where, you know, people who were creating their own style of dogs or their own type of dog. And then I realized quickly that's a lot of work for a little reward. I didn't see that becoming a sustainable business. I thought about getting into breeding. Well, I got a couple of French Bulldog studs that, as soon as they came of age, the market was completely destroyed after all the COVID puppies came about and the massive amounts of overproduction of French Bulldogs. The opportunities that have come my way with my two little stud dogs, I haven't really wanted to partake in because it just wasn't the right fit, and I didn't really necessarily want to create another litter of French Bulldog puppies. So that business idea kind of has gone to the wayside. I still want to partake in it, but not necessarily for a business model type of thing. I think dog breeding in itself can be a business, but I'm just not able to create a business out of it, and nor should I. I just don't have the infrastructure or the ability to do so. It would take a lot different setup than I have now to be able to do that. But that's a conversation that I'll have on the Bulldog Social Club podcast, or it will be a conversation that I'll have on here if people would like to hear about my thoughts on the dog world and dog breeding. Because it is an interesting subject, and it is, in a way, a subject that is a little bit pulverizing in some regards. But I digress. What I'm saying is, I thought about many different avenues to take with business, but nothing has really come to mind to be able to say to myself, all right, I'm going to build a business off the content creation. I'm going to get sponsors. I'm going to get brand deals. I'm going to use the ad revenue to put back into the business. It's all going to be a circle of funding, and I'm going to be able to build a substantial enough business where I can call it a business instead of a hobby or a jobby, as some people call it. But nothing has really panned out. Once you put pen to paper, once you put the rubber to the road here, you realize there is no business to be had in a lot of those things that I was trying to build off of my content creation. Where can I go from here? I've tried the brand deal thing. I've tried the sponsorship thing. You know, the brands that and the brands and the companies that I am more aligned with, they're head and shoulders above me as far as wanting to do business with somebody of my size. They're just not. I'm not in their purview whatsoever, and I understand that. At first, I thought, oh, there's a chance, right? I was naive. And then you really get to the nitty-gritty and you realize, no, there really isn't a chance. You have to be much larger. You have to show a clear path to return on investment for these companies. And at this point in time, with the amount of views and subscribers that I get, it's just I'm not a viable business plan for them at all. I'm not a tool in their tool belt whatsoever. I don't exist. I'm not even a nail to hammer, and so I think that you realize this, and you got to be honest with yourself. You got to really dig deep and not let your ego get in the way. And so I'm not letting my ego get in the way. I understand this, and I'm here to say the clear reality, especially after this last week with YouTube changing their monetization rules, and then now making these obscure decisions on how they count views for long form content. All of this points to them really weeding us out. It's just clear as day, in my opinion. Now, that might be hyperbolic to some people. I am now completely convinced that we small content creators are becoming a dying breed. I've been watching some videos of some YouTube content creators that I've never heard of or come across, but lately they've been in my home feed because of these new rules set forth by YouTube. And it's been interesting that some of these people have been around 15, 16, 17. One guy was around for 20 years and he had like 2 channels over 200,000 subscribers. So realize that he's been in the trenches and he's built 2 successful channels in the last 20 years, and he's seen all the ebbs and flows, and he was one of the first to get monetized way before there was even any clear path to monetization. They sent you an offer if you wanted to be monetized, and so he became monetized, and this particular creator quit his job and went full-time with YouTube, and that's all he's done this last 20 years. And he's an older gentleman. He's actually older than I am, probably by 10 or 12 years or even more. I can't tell. But anyway, that's besides the point. What I'm saying is YouTube back in the day, and I would say not too far in time, 5-6 years for sure, it was a viable career path, and ad revenue was a huge part of that career path. The amount of money that these channels were making was clearly paycheck replacement money, and a lot of times it was a lot more money than their current paycheck. So it was an easy decision for them to quit. And that went on for a little while for them, and it got to the point where they were scaling and they were building, and they realized, hey, I can make more money if I am able to diversify my content and really pump it out. So what did some of these creators do? They built a team around them. They hired people to do things like edit their videos, shoot their videos, come up with video ideas, and they built their own media group, so to speak. And it became a real business. And then slowly YouTube started throttling the ad revenue. And the last 4 or 5 years in particular, especially when the COVID restrictions were being lifted, the ad revenue has gone way down for a lot of these people that were once completely reliant on ad revenue. And now you were seeing a lot of these creators, including this gentleman that I'm talking about. This guy is only making $500 and $1,000 a month off of ad revenue. I mean, holy crap. He's got a channel over 200,000 subscribers. He's got 2 of them over 200,000 subscribers, and he's only making $500 to $1,000 a month. That is a stark change. That is a big deal. And you see a lot of these channels scramble to make the money that they once did just off of ad revenue. Like sponsorships and brand deals were just icing on the cake. Now it's the opposite. Ad revenue is icing on the cake. And that has been an interesting turn of events to watch since 2018, when I came into the game, so to speak. Seeing these channels now really have to hustle for their paycheck. And I don't necessarily look at it as a good thing. I honestly think, number one, it's bad for the idea of content creation of being a business. Number two, and probably more importantly to people that view, to watch YouTube, especially as much as I do, it's kind of really taken, I don't know if fun's the right word out of it. The entertainment, the infotainment value of this has really gone downhill. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that these people are hustling for sponsorships and brand deals. They can't just rely on getting views and subscribers and that ad revenue anymore. And so therefore they're constantly selling. They're in that salesman mode. And so I watch a lot of these channels, and I quickly get frustrated and a lot of times bored, and to be honest with you, pretty cynical when I watch some of these videos from these content creators that I might normally like, and I might subscribe to, but I watch their videos and I realize quickly that they're just one big infomercial, and they're a little bit more palatable to handle than your 3 a.m. infomercial that we all, us Gen Xers, grew up with. You know, those 3 a.m. Infomercials selling us on some sort of diet pill or some sort of, Tony Robbins or something like that. It's kind of a bait and switch. Let me show you the reality of what it's like to be a content creator, but the whole time they're shaping their video for the sake of their brand deal, and they're saying things that they don't necessarily believe in. And a lot of times it's pretty transparent, and when they start making excuses for glaring issues with the brands and the items that they're trying to sell, you get the sense that, hey, this is just fluff. This is just like noise for them to get paid. And unfortunately, it has become the norm on YouTube. And I've watched a few videos lately where I'm kind of digging the person's vibe and what they're talking about, and then the next thing you know, you just see all this product placement, and then they get into the spiel, and then you realize, oh my God, they set you up for this. This is a brand deal. We're in a situation where this is not only affecting content creators, but I think it's affecting the whole platform as a whole, for viewers and everything. And I think YouTube, at the end of the day, I think YouTube doesn't care, because their game plan and their motives are way beyond your average YouTube viewer, or even your YouTube head like me, who all their entertainment comes from YouTube, not just a passerby viewer. I create content, and all I consume is YouTube, whether it be podcasts or videos or whatever it may be. That's my whole form of entertainment. I noticed a big difference, and it's harder and harder to find a content creator that isn't beholden to several different brand deals and sponsors to keep their business alive. And it's, again, I've said it before in other videos, the rich are going to stay rich and the poor are going to stay poor, but the middle class isn't going to get rich, and all they're going to do is create more poor in the near future, in my opinion. Content creators, they've pretty much solidified their feelings toward small creators, and now they're setting sights on your mid-range to high volume content creators. I think people that with less than 1 million subscribers aren't going to their safety net is going away soon, in my opinion. I say all of this to say that no, I'm not quitting, and I don't suggest you quit. But what I do suggest is we have to come up with a whole new framework on how we're going to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish through our content. Some of us need to figure out how we're going to build a business, and if there's a business to be had, and how are we going to use YouTube and content creation to build that business. I have some ideas. I finally have come to the conclusion on something that I feel like could be substantial enough where I can build on. It may not be something that is groundbreaking. It may not be something that is completely sustainable, but I do think it'd be one step further into creating a business, into building something bigger. I'm going to try it. But how it's going to get done, when it's going to get done, that's the question that I have to answer. And at this point, I'm not quite ready to answer those questions. I'm just in the very beginning of building stages of what I'm trying to do. And it definitely is not relying on brand deals, sponsorships, ad revenue, and continuously creating content to build something that just isn't there. I am going to continue to create content because I enjoy the creative process and I love the outlet. It's cathartic, and it is become such a part of my daily existence that I can't foresee myself quitting at this point in time. But I do have to take steps, however small those steps may be, into the direction of building something bigger and more sustainable. Otherwise, there might come a crossroads, and there might be a day where I do have to put the mic down and say, all right, I put enough time and energy into this. It's time to move on. And I'm not at that point yet, but I think the first step in this recovery process is admitting that YouTube is not a business for small content creators. So follow me in my recovery journey from YouTube, and we'll pick this up on another time. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Please hit that subscribe button. I know it's cliche. I feel goofy saying it, but it would mean a lot to me. And continue success in whatever journey you're on. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.